Welcome back to another edition of Driving Maul on Loud Radio. Sharky, good afternoon.
Hello, I've been out the mix completely, but I've been good. How are you?
Yeah, all right. I must be honest, I didn't catch too much of the rugby this weekend. But what I did do was catch the Currie Cup First Division final, well, the last 6 minutes of it, and that was enough of a game in 6 minutes for my liking.
Still haven't seen that try in its entirety because I missed the game as well, and it wasn't on the highlights, and it's not available on YouTube either.
But I just tweeted the powers that be at SS Rugby about the fact that it's not even on their tries of the week.
Really?
Never mind anything else. But we'll talk about that when we get on to Currie Cup and the Currie Cup First Division later in the show. First off, a little bit of news that came out of Japan yesterday. Former Wallabies coach and one of the masterminds behind Bok Glory in 2007 Rugby World Cup, Eddie Jones, suffered a minor stroke in Tokyo yesterday, spent the night in intensive care. Wasn't feeling too hot and they rushed him to hospital after coming back from visiting some training facilities for the Japanese side ahead of a test against Japan next weekend. We wish Eddie well, hope he's feeling better, and
it's terrible news. And hope I followed a little bit when the guy said that he's been admitted into hospital, but from what they say, it's minor, which is great, and hopefully
and they got it early enough.
Yeah.
I think he cottoned on that there was something amiss, so straight to hospital in the middle of a typhoon.
As you do.
Onto the Heineken Cup. First round this weekend, and a little bit of an interesting note. And now these aren't guys that qualify to play for South Africa, although they would have. A lot of them have ended up playing for other countries. But there were 44 South African-born players on display in the Heineken Cup this weekend.
And a number of them scored tries as well. I know DTH van der Merwe scored 2 against Toulon.
Yeah, and missed out on a hat-trick in the closing minutes as well.
He did, man. That ball was just behind him and he just knocked it on a touch. It would have been a bit of gas. He would have had a little bit of work to do for that try, but I'm sure he would have done it.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Exeter Chiefs made their bow in the Heineken Cup this weekend.
I can't correct you. I'm not sure if they did or didn't, but another South African-born player, Donny Armand, made his Heineken debut for Exeter.
He did indeed, and Exeter thrashed Cardiff Blues 44-29, 6 tries to 4 in that game. But what made it more interesting was that for Exeter, Sireli Nakalavuki and Ian Whitten were both yellow carded in the 61st and 62nd minute, and they still managed to hold on for the win, conceding two late tries for a bit of respectability to the scoreline.
Yeah, actually, if I'm not mistaken, Exeter had 3 yellow cards during that game. There was one quite early on in the first half, I think, but there was... Sure.
Yeah.
Cards all over the show.
But Nagalavuki came on in the 57th minute and went to chill in the 61st and came back on in the 71st. So
impact player.
Yeah, he had quite an impact on the game. And then defending champions Toulon against Glasgow. Now Glasgow, I mean, we took the piss out of them for most of last season with the way they were playing and not scoring points and tries and whatever.
That was Edinburgh.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, Glasgow looked like they were going to be the Edinburgh of the Heineken Cup this year. 34-0 Toulon led at halftime. Matt Giteau, outstanding form. Little pop passes and Sonny Bill Williams-esque out the back door.
You mean Sonny Bill Williams does Matt Giteau-esque stuff? Giteau is unbelievable. He's I've obviously been following him because I actually really did. I do rate him, and I was interested to see how well he was doing with such a good side around him. And I mean, he fits in quite comfortably at 10 and 12, and his lines that he runs are exceptionally good. But for a guy that is not very big to play at 12, he hits the line and the players so hard at such pace. He always makes the yards. He's exceptional. His distribution is great. He kicks well. He kicks out of hand exceptionally well as well. He's a really, really good complete 10 and 12, and he's Toulon are reaping the rewards. He's one of the star players, and he's definitely doing the business.
Yeah, well, he picked up 2 tries, and I think he had a decent hand in at least 2 others. But it was 34-0 at half time. It went to 41-7 before Cardiff came back, as we said, through those DTH van der Merwe tries. He picked up 2. Final score 51-28, another 6 tries to 4 game. And then Racing Metro versus Clermont. Clermont's away woes continue this year. 13-9, Racing won that one with Johnny Sexton kicking conversions and penalties and an undro try. The big talking point in that one, though, was a little bit of ref stress for Nalaga. He got yellow carded for raising a knee into a tackle. He was stumbling from an ankle tap.
Oh, really?
No, it's the most ridiculous one and it went to the TMO for the decision.
Oh, you see those guys. You know what? It's those guys that are the problem, actually. I think if we can get rid of them, because the refs are doing their job by referring it, let's be honest. But Nalaga is an important player for Racing, and really?
Yeah, no. Very unfortunate.
I'm sorry, Nalaga plays for Clermont. He's an important player for them. Big guy on the wing, eh? And I missed that game. I was in Joburg.
Don't they have TVs up there?
They do, but there was a lot of football on, and I was staying in Kempton Park, and I got no love with the rugby options.
You know you're in Africa in Kempton Park these days.
But I had to stay close to the airport. It was my first business trip, shitting in my pants. Don't want to drive too far. And then I drove into Kempton Park, and I was like, whoa!
Yeah, my mate and I went to the the FIFA Football World Cup final, and thought we'd catch a taxi from the airport to Kempton Park and then catch a train to the ground, and then there were no trains running, and there's these two and in fact the only trouble we got was some homeless white guy who was just off his rocker. Anyway, Montpellier beat Benetton 27-10. Sergio Police with a try, conversion, a bunch of penalties, and then Munster lost lost away to Edinburgh 29-23, as we were saying earlier.
Well, I definitely didn't pick that because Edinburgh last year registered 2 eggs for their first 2 games, and now they to beat Munster, and as much as Munster are sort of dropping off now, the groups, they finish exceptionally well, but the groups are very tight, because in all the 6 of the groups, the guys who finish first qualify, and then there's 2 best second places out of all 6 of the groups. So you almost can't afford to not finish top. And for Munster, Leinster, and Ulster, who are all challengers year in and year out, it's going to be tight, and they haven't been great in the Pro 12 the Rabbit Direct Pro 12 either. So maybe the Irish are dropping off a bit, and
maybe the English and the Irish and the French have a point about the other unions and the Heineken Cup and the easy ride they get to get into it. And
sorry, just to get onto that, Munster, there was a guy that I really rated, and he played for the Blues, Casey Lualua.
Yes.
Lowell. He's actually playing for Munster. He's been there since he left. New Zealand. He played for the Blues, did he? No, played for the Crusaders. Played at centre, and since then he's left and he's been playing for Munster, and he's been in and out of the side and everything. And then obviously Tim Fisser scoring for Edinburgh.
He did indeed. And then in another interesting game, a bit of an upset here, because Castro beat Northampton 19-13 on the back of some pretty poor performances by Castro in recent weeks in the top 14, and Northampton going strong in the Aviva Premiership. Wouldn't have picked that one.
And
but it happened.
English naughty boy Dylan Hartley scoring the try for Northampton, and then Cockett in with 4 penalties and a conversion. But I think it wasn't going to be such a walkover for Northampton. They were going to France, and we all know well the French play at home, let's be honest. But it's tough up against the top 14 champions, so who had a pretty decent run in Heineken Cup last year as well.
Yeah, they did. And then Harlequins entertained Scarlets, and on the back of some sketchy form for Harlequins as well, they ended up losing this one 33-26 at home. It was a bit of a Williams show by the Scarlets, and if you haven't caught the tries of the weekend, go and find them on Supersport, because 2 of the tries that they've got in there are scored by Scarlets, and they really are right up there. So 3 Williams registered tries for them. Priestland kicked a
separate
of
Williams,
points.
We might add.
Yeah. Priestland kicked a hatful of points. Nick Evans tried to keep Quins in the game, but they just couldn't get there. And then a bit of an upset for, not an upset, but a game changer in the 74th minute. Perpignan, James Hook basically kept them in the game with 2... that doesn't work out. Hook picked up a try, landed a conversion, penalties, and a drop kick to register 22 points for Perpignan, who were leading in the 74th minute. Then Lifiam Murphy picked up a red card. Gloucester scored a try and a penalty in the last 6 minutes to win the game.
Wow. You know what's that's quite interesting. And what is the red card for? Did you manage to pick that up?
I haven't had a proper look.
Gloucester have had a couple of cards this season already. Quite a few actually. But you know what the thing is if you're looking at all these Harlequins, Scarlets, Gloucester and Perpignan, there's some big boys and the guys that you'd expect to be on the score sheets. Mike Brown for Harlequin scored 2 tries this weekend, even though they lost. England fullback. Scarlets with Priestland getting all the conversions. Nick Evans for Quins as well. Jimmy Cowan, the ex-Kiwi for Gloucester, scoring a try, and Johnny May, the guy that I think is going to be one of the best wingers, and he can double up as a centre as well for Gloucester. And Perpignan hook with the absolute everything.
The full house.
Yeah, but I'm a bit confused over the tries there, Hook, with the 0. Is that how long it took him to score the first try?
Yeah, I don't know. I copied and pasted
a full. I know you always do. That's what I was going. I was taking the piss. But that's great. A full house. You don't get that often, and Hook, the bad boy, getting it. But I'd like to see what that. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll have a little look see, and then I'll post some videos of highlights of some of the Heineken Cup for the listeners, and they can follow it and pick it up off our Twitter account.
They can indeed, or follow #DrivingMaul. Leinster got a decent win over Ospreys, 19 points to 9. Jimmy Gopperth landing a whole bunch of kicks, and I think Sean O'Brien picked up the try for Leinster. Dan Bigger with 3 penalties for Ospreys. And then 2 tries apiece. Donnie Pullman picking up 1 for Connacht, but that wasn't enough for them to win it. They ended up losing 23-17 to Saracens.
With Chris Ashton with a try.
Yeah, but there's also stuff missing from that one because there we go. Sorry, thanks. Farrell with 3 late penalties. Yeah, Sarries had scored 2 tries inside the opening 8 minutes.
Yeah, both converted, and that kind of put them a little bit in the driving seat. But it took Connacht a little bit of time to get back. I suppose they're 17th minute, so it was quite an interesting opening half there.
Yeah, well, it was 14-10, 20 minutes into the game. And then nothing for the next 60, really. Toulouse, as expected, thumped Zebra. What were they? 6 tries to 1, 38-5 the final score there. And then Ulster got up over Leicester Tigers. Tommy Bowe with a take out the air from a crossfield kick with who said he would be rusty after coming back from injury.
Yeah.
But Ulster getting up over Leicester, even though
that's quite a result. Tigers would have been obviously Aviva Premiership champions, would have been pushing for a big win in Ireland, and obviously lay down a bit of a marker against the Irish. As I said, they're perennial sort of almost like finalists and semi-finalists, the 3 top Irish sides. So that's a great win for Leicester.
And then just to go through the 6 pools so that you know who's where and doing what for the rest of the Heineken Cup. Pool 1 is Leinster, Castray, Northampton and Ospreys. Tough call between Leinster, Castray and Northampton as to who's going to be the top 2 finishers in that one. Toulon are in a pool with Exeter, Cardiff and Glasgow. Exeter, the surprise package, thrashing Cardiff. Toulon should walk the pool, and then it'll be a battle between Exeter and Cardiff for second spot. Although if Glasgow can play like they played in the second half against Toulon for the rest of the season, they might go all right. Toulouse, Sarries, Connacht and Zebra, you'd have to say that it'll be Sarries and Toulouse thrashing it out for top spot in that one.
Who incidentally are playing this weekend.
And then Scarlets, Racing Metro, Harlequins and Clermont-Auvergne, group of death. And especially when you consider that Quins and Clermont would have been the favourites.
Clermont-Auvergne.
Yeah, and
just to help you out there a little bit.
And they would have been the favourites to be in the top 2 for the group. It ended up losing their opening games. Another interesting group: Montpellier, Ulster, Leicester, and Benetton. Benetton will be out of the running in that one, but tough pick in terms of who'll end up there. Pool 6, Edinburgh top the log.
I know after last year, it's actually diabolical. That's actually going to be a tough. That's going to be a tough group as well. The thing is the Heineken Cup is extremely competitive in the group stages, and because only one is guaranteed to go through, it makes it even more spicy. But with Edinburgh getting a win this weekend, because you would have thought that Gloucester and Munster would be sort of leading the pack over there, but with Munster losing and you'd expect Munster to win that outright. Gloucester put their hand up a little bit, so that's going to be a proper group to watch, because Perpignan are definitely going to squeeze out a win somewhere along the line as well.
Yeah, well, they've of course one or two upsets already in the top 14 this season. Some crackers this weekend and a couple of one-sided options too. Sarries to lose on Friday night should be a belter. Leicester should run all over Benetton. Cardiff Blues Toulon could be a cracker at Cardiff Arms Park.
Should we go up?
Zebra versus Connacht. Zebra probably take a pounding there. Leinster Castres could be quite entertaining,
which is in Ireland. So there's those are two games right there for the first two initial games. The Saracens Toulouse and Leinster Castres, I think, are the two picks for that group, for that bit.
And then Montpellier Ulster could be entertaining.
Montpellier very strong at home.
Munster versus Gloucester will be hard.
That's going to be massive. Munster must win.
Yeah.
Gloucester win, they almost become favourites for the group.
Scarlets versus Racing Metro.
Oh, Racing away from home.
Yeah. Just good luck picking that one. Northampton Ospreys, you'd have to pick the Saints to win that one. Perpignan Edinburgh. Again, it's a tough call. Edinburgh could end up with 2 from 2 early on in the piece.
It'll be tough for them to go away to. I'm not even going to try and say that, to that place in Perpignan and win. I won't lie. It's. I haven't been following Edinburgh too much. I don't really know what they've got to offer. Whether this weekend was a sort of flash in the pan, and is Edinburgh the same as the French sides? You play away from home and you fall apart. So that should be a cracker.
Yeah, and then Glasgow Exeter, good luck picking a winner in that one. Whoa. Based on the performance of both those sides this weekend. And then Clermont Harlequins on Sunday.
Also another...
Come on, Quins. Go and end that record.
No, not the... I don't mind Quins doing it. But Glasgow Exeter is going to be tough as nails. Glasgow put up a massive performance against Toulon. Even though losing, they scored 4 tries. And do they have the bonus points in
yes.
This? They do. So, sure, another tough one to... Yassi. Yesterday.
And that is the hookup, as it's called in France, because they aren't allowed to advertise beer on their shirts.
Still. Even since we had to wear Charles.
Yep. Folks, you listen to Driving Maul on Loud Radio. We'll be back after the break with ITM Cup and Curry Cup. Well, in fact, we'll have another break before we get on to Curry Cup, but definitely ITM Cup coming up after the break. Chat to you soon. Welcome back to Driving Maul on Loud Radio. It's time to move south of the hemisphere to chat rugby. We're going to get onto ITM Cup in a second, but before we do that, Shocky, I thought, and because there's obviously the results in semis to go through for the Premiership and the Championship, but what I did want to discuss is something that I think is a point worth debating. Corey Jane and Tom Taylor, both fresh back from injury, have been drafted straight back into the All Black squad. Jane to start, and Taylor on the bench for Bledisloe 3 in Dunedin on Saturday. Which begs the question, should Heineken Meyer take Skalkberger, Frans Steyn and Johan Goosen overseas?
No.
I agree, but there's a lot of people out there that think that they should be going, and I think it's madness.
I think the Goose is going to play this weekend. I think he's on the bench.
Steyn starting for the Sharks.
Steyn starting for the Sharks.
Skalk's on the bench for Province.
They're all Berger maybe, because he's played 2 games already. So he'll have another 2 games. But only that. But I think the guys are back in contact. Let them then regain their fitness, because they're going to be forcing it. Let's be honest. You're never comfortable when you come back from injury. You're going to force it. You're going to favor it, and then it causes more injuries. And no, they shouldn't. Anyway.
No, I agree. I just thought I'd throw it out there. So please, Heineken Meyer, if you do listen to our show, don't take the boys on tour. Let them have a rest over Christmas, please. In terms of Bledisloe 3, Australia haven't won a test match in New Zealand in 12 years. They've already... what's the word I'm looking for?
Got a hiding.
Yeah, look, the Bledisloe's not up for challenge. It's just the third match in the series which they have to play. And they're playing for pride more than anything else.
Well, they're definitely not playing for the rugby championship, so.
Conrad Smith has gone on sabbatical. He won't be back till after Super Rugby next year, which means Ben Smith gets a run at 13, which a lot of us have been talking about as his potential position in the future. And obviously Corey Jane comes back in a like-for-like for Smith on the wing, because the Kiwis have learned something from the Box in 2009. They have wingers that can kick and chase and finish. The rest of the side is pretty much as it was, except for Jeremy Thrush with a surprise call-up to the starting lineup for his first run on test as an All Black. And then other news that's come out of New Zealand, Tony Woodcock has re-signed with the Blues. He's left Otago. Kevin Mialamu to start, and Dane Cole's on the bench, which means I believe there's a strong possibility that Andrew Hawes played his last game of first-class rugby. Tom Taylor, as we said, on the bench. And then for the Aussies, and this gets quite interesting because they've made a couple of switches in their side. Israel, after their huge win against Argentina, Israel Folau continues at fullback. Adam Ashley Cooper continues on the wing. And this is where you and I were having a conversation off air, was that Matt Tamura has been shifted to 12 outside of Quade Cooper, and I have a feeling that Ma'a Nonu is going to be running at the 10-12 channel for 80 minutes on Saturday. And then the other big talking point, and well deserved because he certainly looks a decent prospect, Peter Betham is into the squad and starting his first test match for the Wallabies.
Massive for him. He's another under 20 graduate into senior level. Big talk about him. I'm just not sure about Tamura 12. That's my only concern. I think you've got a fantastic option with Adam Ashley Cooper. He's played there, he's been there, he's done that, he's faced Nonu a number of times. The only similarities the only reason why I think that would happen is Tamura's not bad at 10, but as we mentioned off air as well, Quade Cooper's not the best in defensively. The thing is the lines that the attackers are running at you when you set up defensively at 10 and 12 are very similar. Once you start moving outside number 12 center, where the guys are running at you at different angles, where the outside center, number 13, is taking contact not head on, whereas 10 and 12 you're going to take most of it head on. So you never know, maybe he's definitely going to offer another option at 10. He'll just shift into that role like Matt Gito does at Toulon, where if Johnny Wilkinson's out the mix or involved in contact, he just slides into 10 and he's sorted. So looking forward to see what happens, but I tend to think that might be a problem.
I think the Aussies are going to get a hiding again. Other interesting news, Mikey Harris is back from injury, so he's back on the bench. And then Ben McCullman comes in at 8 with Moan switching to the flank alongside Michael Hooper.
McCullman's just come back from injury, yeah?
I think so. No, he's been floating around the Wallaby squad, but what it means is that who's the big lock that's been playing flank for most of the season from the Force? Hugh McMenamin, no? Anyway.
Oh, that's who was injured, sorry. Yeah.
I just personally I think the Kiwis will be 10-0 for the year come the final whistle on Saturday.
They rack it up quickly. I remember when England beat them last year, they were starting to hitting some huge records. So 10, another season of being unbeaten, and all of a sudden they're starting to challenge all sorts of different things.
Yeah, but then again, we said the same thing this time last year ahead of the Bledisloe 3 in Hong Kong, and that ended up being a draw. So
true story.
On to the ITM Cup, and there were a few final round games. The one worth talking about first was obviously the game on Friday where Counties Manukau had to defend the Logger Wood for the last time this season, and they went and did it. They won 25-7 against Southland, and they will hold on to the Ranfurly Shield until next year.
That's impressive.
Yeah, so 3 defences in a row after the other sides all lost them.
After hot potato.
Yeah. And then just results out of the ITM Cup, and it was a cross conference won, and it meant that Auckland missed out on a home semi-final. They lost to Otago, who secured themselves a home semi-final in the championship. Auckland missed out on a home semi-final in the premiership, with Otago winning 37-33. Tasman Manawatu, with their last game of the season, was a 57-14 win for the Marcos, and they in top of the championship. And Canterbury thumped North Harbour 38-0. North Harbour obviously in the championship, Canterbury in the premiership, and that got Canterbury a home semi-final. You know what's going to happen there, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Bay of Plenty, looking for their second win of the season, didn't quite get there, ended up losing 2019 to Northland. And Waikato beat Taranaki 22-14 to hold on to mid-table. What it means is, in the championship, Tasman versus Southland and Otago versus Hawke's Bay are the semi-finals. They are on Saturday, I think around 5:30 a.m. and then Sunday at 3:30 a.m. So if you're up, you can watch them. Otherwise, find the highlights, because there are plenty of highlights that come out of the ITM Cup. And then the other two big semis, Canterbury Auckland on Saturday, but tomorrow Wellington Counties, and obviously Counties who are riding high on riding the crest of the wave of being holders of the Ranfurly Shield. Will be a solid challenge for Wellington, but you just have a suspicion that Wellington will have too much in the tank, and I personally think it'll be a Wellington-Canterbury final next week.
It looks so. It's gonna, you're gonna see a whole bunch of the big boys coming back now for these sort of semis and stuff like that. But it's great for counties to hold on to the Loggerwood and
get a semi-final in the ITM Cup. So
interesting. And then do we know how the promotion relegation works yet?
It's 1 up, 1 down.
So they don't play off or anything, like we do.
No.
Okay.
Bay of Plenty are gone, and whoever wins.
That would be the Marcos.
No.
Keys.
Whoever wins the actual final. Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's huge.
Yes. So you can finish fourth and get promoted. I think. I stand corrected. Time will tell. And it was Scott Fardy. Thank you, Buckies. Was who we were talking about. On to the Gold Coast Sevens, and I didn't catch too much of this, but what I did catch was a bit of ref stress in the Blitzbokke semi-final. Ended up losing to those Australia. But it sounded like it was, hello, how the hell did we go from 1 week with a Welshman and a South African national side reffing so well to a Welshman and a South African national side reffing absolute toilet?
Yeah.
Anyway, the Blitzbokke did lose their semi-final 24-19 in extra time after getting a couple of yellow cards. They then went on to lose 47-0 to England in the third-fourth playoff. Obviously just couldn't get up for that one.
That was a big concern for me, but...
Well, especially seeing as they beat England 22-14 in their pool game the day before.
They were a little bit broken. They had some issues with their flights as well, so they did land. It was a bit of the whole tournament must have been a bit dodgy for them. But that semi-final against Australia was mammoth. They went very late into knockouts. It was a very energy sapping game, and whoever made it through that was going to get an absolute pounding from the Kiwis. And I think South Africa just playing that third fourth against England, they just their heads went in it. They were tired. They had nothing really more to go for, and it was a tough semi-final on the end of a really, really tough week. So I don't look too much into that. It just irks me that England but
by that particular scoreline.
Yeah.
In case you missed the results, the Blitzbokke won their pool games 29-5 versus France, 38-7 versus Spain, and 22-14 versus England. They then went and beat Wales 28-21 in an exciting quarter-final. Australia beat Kenya in their quarter. England thumped Fiji, and New Zealand absolutely trounced Samoa 40-0. And then in the semis, New Zealand got up 14-5 over England, and Australia, as we said, 24-19 over South Africa. England then beat South Africa in the third-fourth playoff. Australia raced to a 19-0 lead, and then lost 40-19 to the All Black Sevens. And New Zealand won another title on the World Series Sevens circuit.
Just to kickstart the World Series on a high note.
Indeed. there was something else that I picked up now. No, it's irrelevant. Okay, when we come back, we're gonna be talking Currie Cup because it is semi-final time, and there is the usual excitement that comes around Currie Cup, and also the potential of a Bok touring squad being announced at some stage next week.
I know. Can you believe it? It's like 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks until our first game. 3.5 weeks, I think.
That is true. We're going to listen to a little bit of the Red Hot Chili Peppers and then a song dedicated to...
Blah, blah, blah.
Welcome back to Driving More on Loud Radio. It's time to talk Currie Cup. And first of all, let me just say, Griquas, second stringers, I didn't give you a chance. And jeez, did you nearly upset the apple cart on the weekend. Lions came back to win that one 35-28, but I do believe Griquas were leading narrowly at half-time. What's his name? That Anthony Forming scored another absolute
class
blitz of a try. Rocco Janssen also with a great finish, and then Gous Prinsloo with a bunch of penalties to keep Griquas in the lead. But the Lions did come back and win it, and I think Willie Brits also raced home for what ended up being the winning score. And then the Blue Bulls. It's very blue in Loftus. They haven't made the semi-finals. They got trounced 22 points to 7 by the Cheetahs. And the highlight of the game for me is Adrian Strauss out-muscling and out-racing JJ Engelbrecht in a tussle for the ball from 22 meters out to score a try.
It's unbelievable.
That was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, 22-7 the final score there. Olga Watts Robert Eberson with an outstanding try set up by Olga Watts, and then Olga Watts with an outstanding try as well. He's got a great step.
He does, but he could quite possibly be up for Currie Cup Player of the Year. He's been between him and Robert Eberson possibly, because Eberson has been firing on all cylinders this whole season, and so has Olga Watts. I think the only other person who could come close,
Dion Fourie.
Dion Fourie, and also Jacques Boertes. He could be in with a shout as well. He's been very consistent.
He ended up leading the Sharks out after supposed to be on the bench, but apparently Keegan Daniel took a knock to the eye or something in warm up and wasn't feeling too hot. Yeah. So Boertes led the side out and set a new record for Currie Cup appearances all time. And then in that game, Province winning 17-13, and I said it a couple of years ago. I watched Dimitri Katrakilis, I think last year, in a Currie Cup game at Newlands in the pouring rain from the railway stand side on, and I said at the time to anybody that I could find that the way that kid reads a game in wet weather is just phenomenal, and he showed it again on Saturday. Landed a drop kick, kicked a penalty. A couple of penalties, missed the conversion, but it was his tactical kicking out of hand that kept the Sharks back in their 22. They tried to force the game a bit too much. And in the end, Province did the double over the Sharks this season and remained unbeaten. The first side to go unbeaten in, I think, 7 years in the Currie Cup in the group stages.
I called Province to win. I really felt they did. They've got such an unbelievable belief about them, and they're a bunch of youngsters, and they can travel anywhere in the country and play and win, because they've won there all over the last 2 years. They've won at every venue. So like the place like Loftus, which used to be a fortress, is not there anymore for them. For specifically for the Province boys, and the same as Kings Park. I mean, they went there last year and they won the final. Those youngsters go there. It's not that big place anymore. Yep. Coming to Newlands and trying to win is starting to become that place for everyone else now, because Province unbeaten this year. They lost to the Sharks there last year. It takes a team to get used to doing something, and they're looking pretty solid, and they're gaining some great momentum. They got some good books back. Did you see Sia Kulisi and Skara and Tabeni before the game? They were dancing and jolling in the changing room, and they were pretty amped. They were good to go, and I called it. Sharks have been so this year. They're still in with a great shot. They deserve to be in the semis, and if it's a Province Sharks final at Newlands, they deserve it as well. But they've got a big semi-final coming up, and both sides do. I think Province will beat the Lions. But I think the Sharks Cheetah's game's going to be tough as nails.
Now, just touching on some of the players that we were talking about there, because we were talking about does Heineken Meyer bring players back? Ed Hoerboer on Twitter said that they should rest Jean de Villiers and take Frans Steyn at 12. Personally, I think that Steyn should be rested as well, because he's only just coming back. And on supersport.com today, there was a very interesting article that basically followed up your belief that Damon de Allende will one day be a Bok, and that they reckon he might be a bolter for the overseas tour now in November. And the other one that I think might be a bolter is Scurra Ntebeni, because he doesn't miss a tackle. He didn't miss a line-out jumper in the pouring, driving rain at Kings Park. And Chili Boy's now playing overseas. If you're gonna have a look at alternatives and you want to pick home-based players, there's a couple of youngsters floating around at Newlands that maybe deserve a shout, particularly given that the older war horses, that the boys need to put up their boots and enjoy themselves. And I'm not saying don't take Jean de Villiers on tour, but maybe play him off the bench or just have him around in the squad, or etc.
He won't leave his captain behind.
No.
But I thought de Allende definitely deserves a shot. He's had 2 great seasons. Particularly this one has only been played at 12, whereas last year he played quite a bit on the wing. But he started playing, put his hand up, playing at 12 against the Sharks in the final that they won.
Yes.
I thought it was very good. You've got to look at two options at additional options at 12. It's between him and Robbie Ibbison.
But Ibison's off to Montpellier.
Yes, and
as soon as the Cheetahs get knocked out.
That was so that's those are the options, and I think de Allende is definitely a better option for the future. I think he needs just needs a little bit more fine tuning. He's big, he's quick, he doesn't miss tackles, he gets through a shit load of work on the field, and knows Jean de Villiers quite well. So there'll be some help there, and I'm sure Jean will be putting in a good word for him. But, I think Scurra is a great shout as well. What other options do we have at hooker? There really aren't any, but we do have a fair amount of fairly healthy hookers at the moment. So I think he's like third or fourth down the line.
Who, Scurra? Yeah, but look, he probably won't. I don't think he'll get a game, but I reckon he'll go on tour. And same as de Allende. But Scurra Ntebeni at the age of 21, Bismarck, Adrian Strauss, Chili Boy, all in the latter 20s, early 30s.
Bismarck, I still think, has got a good 5 years in him. So
sure.
You need to pick someone. You maybe have 2 guys rotating and in the second option.
Don't get me wrong. Adrian Strauss and Bismarck are going to be the Bok first and second choice, and they can decide who's what over the next 2 to 3 years. But Scurra Ntebeni in 4 years' time is going to be a 25-year-old hooker with a lot of experience, and if he keeps going the way he's playing, he's going to be phenomenal
possibly
option.
2 Curry Cups under the belt after this season at the age of 21.
No, exactly.
It's a reality.
There's something about him, and I said it last year, and I'm going to stick to my guns. And in the pressure game, playing for a home final in the pouring rain in Durban, he didn't miss a jumper, and I thought that was exceptional. And I don't think I've seen him miss a tackle. So the Currie Cup semis are on Saturday. It's Province versus the Lions at Newlands at 2:30, and as fate would have it, I'm going to be stuck in Joburg in a conference. I can't even watch the game. Although if the conference is boring, I might be out of there by 2. Sucks
to be you. I'm actually doing the Impy Challenge on Saturday. I'm looking forward to watching some good rugby tomorrow night. I'm sure they'll televise that top 14 game that we were discussing, Sarries and Toulon. Sarries and Toulouse.
Yes.
So, but Saturday is going to be a goodie. Some 2 very, very big games. There's some great rugby on this weekend, but.
And then it's Sharks Cheetahs. Cheetahs are the Sharks bogey side, but they are playing in Durban, and the Sharks have got 11 first choice Springboks or squad players in their starting lineup for this weekend.
It's crazy, yeah.
Yeah. So I personally I can't see the Sharks losing.
And how many players did Province lose to the Boks?
2, 3.
Oh, so the Sharks took the bulk, took the biggest hit.
Yeah, and then brought them all back and still lost.
Yeah. That's fine. Don't worry about it, my man. Don't worry about it. Just get them into the pace and the set of things, and we'll see you in a week's time. Hopefully.
You hope. Ami's sitting there going, no. The province side for this weekend, Jean de Villiers is going to be playing 13. As we were saying, De Allender has been that impressive that he hasn't been shifted out of the side by the returning Springbok incumbent 12 and skipper.
Very, very happy to see that. You need Jean on the park, and he's in such great form at the moment, showing some great pace, and you've got two massive guys at centre, and the Lions are going to be cucking themselves.
I'm looking forward to the Andries Coetzee versus the Allender battle, because I earmark Coetzee for something in the future as well. I think he's got a lot of game in him. Tez and Colby, a lot of the debate around the small players and is there a place for them in rugby. Okay, guys, he might be short. He is definitely not small.
He's wide.
He is as solid as a brick shithouse. Dimitri Kachakilis continues at 10. The little general, and might also be a little bit of an outside shout to go on a tour to Europe and get some experience in the side. If we're gonna rest Hoos and Mornay Staines playing overseas, you see where I'm going with this. Pat Lambie to start. Anyway, we'll see on the numbers that he takes. But if there's gonna be bolters from the Currie Cup this year, 3 of them. For my money, I wouldn't be surprised to see any one of the 3 of the Allender, Katrakilis, or Scarra and Tabeni in the Bok touring side. I'm not saying that they'll get a test match, but I think they'll be there or thereabouts. For the Lions, Alton Janchis comes back for the battle against Katrakilis, and Yaku Kriel, who can't be too far away from one of the bigger unions, picking him up as well. He's been phenomenal on the flank for the Lions. For the Sharks, Espie Marais, Louis Ludic comes back in with Frans Steyn. So after doing all the hard work, Jaime Williams and Tim Whitehead are dropped. Whitehead out of the side completely. Is he injured?
Well, you've been hoping for it for 14 games in a row now.
No, I've never hoped for injury.
Not hoping, but you've been waiting for it. That's an interesting shot. A brand new centre pairing. And to be very honest, Steyn and Ludic have never played centre together at a game before.
No, and Lambie back in at 10. So your 10, 12, 13 axis hasn't played together as a unit ever in a semi-final against a 10, 12, 13 axis that is on fire for the Cheetahs.
That haven't been changed since the beginning, since February.
Yeah. Since Jesus walked on water. The Charles McLeod, Keegan Daniels starts, Jean Daisel, Marcel Coetzee, Peter Steph de Toy continues, Vian Herbst comes in for Yanni Duplessis. Yanni's not even on the bench.
Oh my word! Can we say that? Can we just have a moment
Yanni
silent for
Duplessis
Yanni?
is being rested.
He's being rested
for a semi.
For first time in 3 years that he hasn't, when he's been fit, he hasn't started a game. Damn, that I'm happy. I really am.
Yeah, it's about time. The guy looked tired the way he was trying to make tackles in the rugby championship.
Out on the park. He was much.
In his 50th test, he was like, "Do I really have to run out here on my own? Can't I just walk?" And then for the Cheetahs, they pretty much look like they've looked all season, really. I mean, it's Henny Danila, Rian Smith, John Sadi, Robert Eberson, Raymond Rule, Elgar Watt, Sarah Pretorius, Philip van der Walt, Lapis Saviskachny, Boom Prinsloo, Jutta Jager, Francois Ace, Trevor Nyakani, André Strauss, Adrian Strauss, and Kuni Oosthuizen. Jeez, I'm suddenly looking at this and going, the Sharks look a bit rough around the edges in terms of stability and continuity, and the Cheetahs, they've basically played this side all year. Okay. Ek weet nie oom, ek start on my pencil. I am going to go with a province 2-point win, just to make me sweat while I'm reading Twitter.
I'm going province by 19.
And then Sharks Cheetahs. Look, I'd like the Sharks to make another final because in the last 12 years they've played in 8 and lost 6. So
yeah, it's been an interesting little sort of period of time for them. But I've gone Sharks by 17.
Big call. I'm a little nervous. I think the Sharks will win, but it'll be a narrow one. I'm going to go with the Sharks by 3 in extra time.
So you're basically going for a draw?
No, I was kidding. Sharks by 3 for a Sharks province final at Newlands, and I will be
in Joburg for.
Unlucky, son.
Can you believe
I would have got you a ticket on Monday. And then one thing we did forget to talk about is just a big congratulations to the Pumas. Went unbeaten through the first division and then absolutely trounced the EP 53-30 in the final. They scored one of the tries of the season, and if it's not the South African rugby try of the season, I'm going to be surprised, because it was almost Kiwi-esque in its making. They were down to 13 men. They just scored a try to extend their lead with 13 men. From the restart, they take the ball on the left-hand side. It gets fed back into the 22. The fullback, who had a hat-trick at that stage, charges, makes a line break, offloads. Another guy makes a line break. Anyway, they go 8 passes, 4 line breaks, 2 phases, 75 meters from the restart with 13 men on the park and crash over in the corner. Phenomenal. Yeah. To the degree that Bob Skinstad and Warren Brosnan in the commentary box went quiet for the last 5 passes. They didn't say a word.
Wow.
And then all that came was wow from Bros.
Those two commentators together must have been difficult to listen to.
Actually, to be honest with you, it was thoroughly entertaining.
Oh, the Bros. Not my favorite on the mic, I won't lie. But just what leads me to another question. The Griquas and the Pumas are now going to play off
tomorrow night.
One game?
2 games, home and away, log system.
Oof.
And the Pumas, dude,
are running
see the rugby they play. They really, and Griquas are going to throw it around. They're bringing Billy LaRue back and all the big guns that they rested for their last pool game in the Currie Cup.
So there's a playoff game tomorrow night.
There is indeed. 7:10 tomorrow evening.
Lekker.
And then the follow-up game the following week. It's at Griquas for the first game.
What's your call? Griquas going to stay? Or Pumas coming up?
Pumas coming up.
You say Pumas coming up? Yo.
They'll win both games.
The Pumas will win both games. Where are they playing tomorrow?
At Griquas.
Yes.
And
they go to Kimberley and they win first game. That old toppy's going to have a heart attack. What's his name?
Jimmy Stonehouse. How's the guns on that oak?
No, not their coach. That old bully at...
Okay, I know you're talking about.
Who's that Jimmy Stonehouse? He's their coach.
The Pumas coach,
he hates to lift a weight. Did he ever play rugby for anyone?
I think he was a hooker, eh?
But that oak's just a walking muscle. He looks like an angry man.
He is huge.
And
my dad reckons he's like 5'6".
He does look bigger considering he's wearing his son's shirt most of the time, but I mean... You never know.
No, it's still massive guns.
Anyway, we're talking about men's biceps. Not really what I want to talk about.
So you're saying Pumas are going up? And he's been Pumas coach for 6 years.
Yeah, long time.
I just... And the best part of it, that final, when he realised his side had taken it, he went up and sat in the crowd with the fans.
Nice. Nice.
And was with his walkie-talkie and then talking to fans and moving seats and like sharing it with the locals at the Mombella. Awesome. Sharky, it's been great. Folks, you've been listening.
You.
Yeah, another edition of Driving Maul on Loud Radio. Enjoy the rugby this weekend. Come on, Province.
Go on the Sharks.
Such enthusiasm.